Part 71. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 701. Halfway through dinner, Shen Yunqing received a phone call. After coming back, Zhang Lingzi saw that his expression was a little more awe-inspiring. She immediately guessed something. After drinking all the juice in the cup, she stood up and said, "Yunqing and I may have to take a step forward. Please continue." Shen Yunqing nodded. Everyone in the box watched the two people leave. Wei Minmin couldn't help but clicked her tongue. What a tacit understanding. Wei Xiao glanced at his niece and said, "You are already a grown-up, so don't you want to find someone with whom you have such a tacit understanding?" In a private setting, Wei Minmin directly called her uncle. "This kind of thing is something that you can never ask for. We don't have such extravagant hope." That prompted Wei Xiao to nod her head. He muttered, "You and Xiao Ke are obviously excellent in their respective fields, and they are not bad in appearance, but they are both always in trouble." Wei Minmin suddenly felt as if her wedding was being pushed forward during the Spring Festival, and she immediately moved to Pei Xinyuan's side with her cup, bowls, and chopsticks. Come on, keep eating. Sister 11 and Mr. Shen don't know what's so urgent. There's still a big dish that hasn't been served yet." Zhang Lingzi and Shen Yunqing, who were being talked about, were already on the car where Huza came to pick them up. As for Tong Yu and the others, they were released by Zhang Lingzi after the program was finished. Without Tong Yu and the others, Zhang Lingzi asked directly after getting in the car, "Is there any result in the investigation about the previous killer?" "Well," Shen Yunqing clicked on the message he just received on his phone. "The one who hired him was Zhang Lingzhou." Zhang Lingzhou. Zhang Lingzi couldn't help but be surprised. "My suspicion of him is still behind his parents. It seems that their relationship between siblings is better than I thought. She wants to avenge her sister." "It's not entirely because of this," Shen Yunqing shook his head. "To be precise, he attributed the stabbing and the loss of a kidney to you." "What kind of truth is this?" "The reason why he was stabbed in the fight this time was because the other party ridiculed him for being extravagant even though his family had no money, and now he has a sister who is in jail." Zhang Lingzi. She was silent for a moment and pointed to herself. "So, does he think that all the changes that happened to their family were all caused by me? Although it is not wrong to say this, if Zhang Anfeng is doing business honestly and does not want to cheat people like Zhang Runqing who have gone bankrupt and have been dreaming of a comeback, she will not bother to care about how Zhang Anfeng does business. In the same way, if Zhang Lingxian was not so jealous and sincerely accepted An's arrival, how could Mr. Zhang give up his beloved granddaughter? To Zhang Anfeng's family, she has only one sentence to say: those who do too much injustice will be punished. How are you going to deal with it? It's almost the Chinese New Year, and Mr. Zhang has just been discharged from the hospital." Zhang Lingzi really felt that her heart had softened a lot now. "Let's give him a small lesson first, and let's deal with it after the new year is over." In her previous life, she would never have allowed someone who wanted to harm her to live in peace for the rest of the year. But for Zhang Lingzhou, who still has to lie in the hospital bed to receive a little education, this year is probably not going to be easy. "Okay, I'll do it." Shen Yunqing had already thought about what lesson to teach Zhang Lingzhou. "Since you are lying in a hospital bed with a broken kidney and still have the strength to hire a killer, let's first taste what it's like to be unable to move your mouth or use your hands." That night, while Zhang Lingzhou was half asleep and half awake, he suddenly felt a chill on his body. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw a dark figure standing in front of his bed. As the saying goes, if you don't do something bad, you won't be afraid of ghosts knocking on the door, but he just did something bad. Although he didn't succeed, he was always afraid in his heart. When he sees this, he subconsciously opens his mouth and screams. The next second, his fate was grabbed by the throat. Immediately afterwards, I heard a crisp sound from each of my two arms, and then I lost consciousness again. His eyes suddenly bulged. Save, Zhang Lingzhou thought that someone had stabbed him in the kidney with a fruit knife, which was the biggest injury he had ever suffered in his life. Until now, his arm seemed to have been twisted and he had no feeling at all. His throat was in severe pain and for some reason he could not make any sound. He was afraid that if he moved too much, he would damage the unhealed wound on his waist. He couldn't wait until the nurse or caregiver came in to check on his condition. Just like that, I lay upright with my eyes open all night, screaming and screaming every day. Until early the next morning, Lin Yi came over with breakfast. First she was startled by her son's red eyes, and then she found that his arm was abnormally bent. She quickly called the doctor and asked her son what happened last night. Zhang Lingzhou wanted to speak, but his mouth was so open that he couldn't make a sound. The blows came one after another. Lin Yi rolled her eyes and almost fainted. How could a good person become like this? This encounter was so weird that even Zhang Nashuan was alarmed by mid-morning. When I arrived at the hospital, I saw my grandson still lying on the bed, unable to move his arms or speak. He immediately hit the crutches and said, "People are like this, why don't you call the police?" "No, Dad," Lin Yi shook her head with a grimace, "I mentioned it before you came over, but Xiaozhou kept shaking his head and almost shook his head off. This child is already suffering enough now, don't provoke him again." Zhang Nashuan was startled when he heard this, and lowered his eyes to meet his grandson's eyes. Zhang Lingzhou couldn't help but look away first. Zhang Nashuan's heart suddenly sank. "Xiaozhou, tell me honestly, did you do something secretly, and then you were retaliated by the other party?" Zhang Lingzhou's face couldn't help but twitch. He couldn't help but think of the dark figure last night. Could it be that Zhang Lingzi found out that it was the killer he hired? This is the only thing I have done secretly recently. But the person he was looking for was so mysterious and was not even in Huazhu. How did Zhang Lingzi find the clues? What interrupted his thoughts was a sharp pain in his leg, which made him subconsciously open his mouth and want to scream. It's just that it can only be a silent cry. Zhang Nashuan took back his crutch with a dark face and looked at his grandson with disappointment. He just asked tentatively, but he didn't expect this kid to react like this. It was obvious that he had something on his mind, so he didn't dare to ask the police for help. Lin Yi, a mother, is also very blind. Just do it for me. Sooner or later you will kill yourself. Dad, what are you talking about? How can you still say such heavy words when Xiaozhou is like this? Zhang Nashuan pressed his temples hard, turned around and left. Facing such a mother and son, he really couldn't stay any longer. Z1. Zhang Lingzi listened to Su Ling'an and Cheng finished describing Zhang Lingzhu's tragic situation and Mr. Zhang's suspicions with a small face and angrily, but she always felt that something was missing. By the way, where is Zhang Anfeng? Su Ling'an glanced at his mouth, always feeling that saying this would offend his sister's ears. After thinking about his words, he replied, "Lin Yi let it slip in the middle. Fortunately, my grandfather was so angry that he didn't hear clearly. Zhang Anfeng seemed to be going to another place, a place to stay." Zhang Lingzi. The description of this girl, is also a bit euphemistic. But Zhang Anfeng is seeing the big one being used up, so he is preparing to raise a small one? What a mess, it makes me sick just thinking about it. She felt that even if she didn't take action after the new year, the whole family would be able to finish it off on their own. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 702. Su Ling'an glanced at the TV that was being adjusted by Xiaozhi. "Sister, I plan to go back to my grandma's house and watch Empress Yuan Zhao with her." "Okay, let Huza give it to you." It happened to be the summer solstice and I turned on the TV. The evening news was playing, and there was a New Year's countdown posted on the top of the screen. Zhang Lingzi looked at Su Ling'an, who stood up and was about to leave. "Anan, Are you and Grandma coming to Z1 to celebrate the New Year sometime? She asked Shen Yunqing that other members of the Shen family rarely come here, let alone those who don't celebrate the New Year in Z1. They always go back to the old residence of the Shen family. In such a large place, except for Shen Yunqing, Xiaoji, and the staff responsible for taking care of the garden, there are basically few new faces throughout the year. Looking at it this way, Z1 is a private property that no one is allowed to enter. It is simply more deserted than the Yinhe Palace where her harem was empty. At least in the former part of the Yinhe Palace, there are still so many ministers coming and going to the court every day. It's just that this Z1 used to be exclusive to Shen Yunqing, but now there is another one of her. Since she moved into Z1, Tong Yu and the others sometimes come to pick her up because of work, and sometimes they have to do makeup and other things, which adds a little more popularity to Z1. But if they were celebrating the New Year in Z1, it would be somewhat deserted with just the three of them. Su Ling'an didn't expect to hear this suggestion from her sister, and couldn't help but be stunned. Zhang Lingzi added with a smile, "Don't be in a hurry to get back to me. Ask Grandma first when you get back, just in case Grandma has other arrangements." After sending Su Ling'an away, Shen Yunqing moved to Zhang Lingzi's side without leaving a trace, and continued following her suggestion. Then, should I bring my father-in-law, mother-in-law and Xiao Su over as well? After all, His Majesty has always been a lively person. In my previous life, I was the most ruthless emperor. No matter how colorful the annual New Year's Eve palace banquet is, it can't cover up the coldness inside. He still remembered that this man once quietly sent Qing Yuan beside him to stay in the side hall after a banquet in the previous court. After waiting in the side hall for a while, he saw His Majesty, who was supposed to be hosting the royal family banquet in the harem, changed into an ordinary robe, pulled him, who was also unable to spend New Year's Eve the same because he had left the family, and slipped out of the palace and left. In the noisy and bustling streets, I watched a folk New Year's Eve reunion. You reminded me. Zhang Lingzi immediately picked up the cell phone beside her. I'll call them and ask them. When the call was connected, I just heard the background sound of the TV coming from the phone. What a coincidence, it was exactly the same as the one on the TV in front of her. Are you also watching national television? Zhang Wenhui put down her chopsticks and turned down the volume of the TV. I'm waiting to see you in Empress Yuan Zhao. Isn't it said to be broadcast tonight? Yes, Yunqing and I are also preparing to watch it. The sisters I work with also recommended it, but I didn't say it was my girl who acted it. I was afraid they would all come to me asking for autographs because you are so popular now. Mom, do you want to come to our place to celebrate New Year's Eve? Although one asked in person and the other asked over the phone, Zhang Wenhui and Su Ling'an had similar reactions. After being stunned for a few seconds, they said, come to your place to celebrate the New Year. You and your dad can buy all the New Year's goods about there. What's the matter? You guys came here with your New Year's goods. Yunqing and I haven't had time to buy them yet. Then, let's go there the day before New Year's Eve. You won't be busy then, right? Zhang Lingzi simply said, I will drive to pick you up then. Just pack up and wait for me. Okay, remember to go slower on the road. There are a lot of cars on the road during the New Year. New. Zhang Runqing went back to the kitchen and filled a bowl of rice out. He saw his wife holding a mobile phone in one hand and a remote control in the other. Her eyes were red and a little sparkling under the light. I quickly looked at the TV and found that it was only the evening news, showing lively scenes of families preparing for the New Year. Why did you cry while watching the news? Zhang Wenhui sniffed. 1111 just called and asked if we should go over to celebrate the New Year with her and Yunqing. Zhang Runqing held a chopstick of rice and paused it in mid-air. After a while, she whispered, is this the first time she has said she wants to celebrate the New Year with us since she started working in the entertainment industry? No, I didn't cry. I was excited. Old John, I'm warning you, don't do anything stupid to me again. Finally managed to reconcile with her daughter, and she would never allow her husband to become estranged from her daughter again. Having a meal together during the New Year and holidays is what she dreams of. Zhang Lingzi made a okay gesture. Shen Yunqing smiled and nodded, and then estimated the people who would live in the house at that time. Xiaoji, please have someone clean up the yard next door tomorrow. Xiaoji, who was sitting on the sofa next to him and was about to follow the drama, nodded quickly, and then glanced gratefully at His Majesty, who was sitting next to the gentleman. Finally, this Chinese New Year is no longer just about him and his husband. The New Year atmosphere must be brought up this time. Moreover, time is tight and the task is heavy, but don't be afraid, he can take action now. However, after looking at the program preview on the TV, he sat back without leaving a trace. After watching 2 episodes of the TV series in which His Majesty and Mr. Wang personally starred, it was not too late to take action. Asterisk. Mom, change the channel quickly, to the national channel. The woman turned to look at her daughter who suddenly came out of the bedroom, and said in surprise, "Don't you like watching TV?" Xiao Zioxi sat down next to her mother and reached for the remote control. This time is different. This is a TV series starring Majesty. I plan to follow it from the first episode to the finale. I calculated it with a calendar, just in time to catch up to the end of my winter vacation. Give it back to your Zixi, does the big star know who you are? If you want to use the TV, what about the bossy little chef I'm watching? Go, use your computer to watch it, don't steal the TV from me. Look. Maybe you really remember me. A black mask flashed through Xiao Zioxi's mind, and he blinked. Besides, it's not as fun to watch on a computer as it is on a big TV. Besides, Empress Yuan Zhao is definitely better than that Zioku you watch. Mom, it looks great. This is the history of the struggle of a generation of empresses. You can also learn about history by watching it. You watch people cooking in the drama every day, why not buy a recipe and study it yourself? Can I really learn history by the way? If you don't believe me, watch it with me. Okay, let's watch one episode. This scene appeared in the homes of many Zhang Lingzi fans. Coupled with the fans of other actors in the drama and people who usually like to watch TV dramas on the national channel, when 8 o'clock came, the staff who were firmly in the background watched the line representing the ratings of the national channel. An unexpected height suddenly appeared on the big screen. It's coming, it's finally coming. Zhang Lingzi put down the teacup in her hand and raised her eyes to look at the TV. When the opening credits finally showed Shen Yunqing's face and the role she played, the most mysterious Prime Minister Shen, who has been hidden for so long, has finally shown up. As she spoke, she turned to look at the person next to her, only to see that the other person was also looking at her faintly. After a pause, "Don't worry, the other identity won't be hidden for long." Shen Yunqing withdrew his gaze with satisfaction. However, some people will be satisfied with this, while others are simply frightened. Holy shit! Xiao Zioxi's eyes widened and she couldn't help blurting out, and then she received a slap on the back from her mother. What did you just say? Tell me again. No, Mom, I just think the actor who plays Prime Minister Shen looks a bit familiar. Even though one is in modern clothes and the other is in ancient clothes, and one is wearing a mask and the other is not wearing one, with the same facial features and temperament, you can never tell the difference between them. They are definitely the same person. So, not only did she question Zixi's family members as fake fans, but she also criticized the actor who played Prime Minister Shen. He also criticized him several times in a row. How will this make her face the plot that will unfold next? Xiao Zioxi, why are you so awesome? End of chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 703. But soon she stopped thinking about it. After the opening credits, it's the main film. The beginning is a fierce and exciting war scene. At the end of the dynasty, all the heroes came together and wars broke out all over the place. And in one of the teams, a young girl with a childish face will be able to determine the morale of the army with one arrow in the midst of thousands of troops. Her appearance is heroic and high-spirited, and her eyebrows are as bright as the rising sun. Drinking by the Mahu lake, resting on the old man's back, waving his hands in the shadow of the sword, he rode a high-spirited youth that was very different from other girls in ancient times. But beyond the wantonness, the pain caused by the blindness of the sword, the disapproval from his father and the regret in his eyes, mixed with the hidden fear in the eyes of his brothers, also took turns on the battlefield. Paired with ingenious and wonderful transitions, the appropriate soundtrack, and the superb acting skills of the actors, the audience in front of the TV has been completely immersed in it without even realizing it. It wasn't until the ending song suddenly sounded that many people woke up in an instant. Is this just one episode? Why so fast? It's been almost 50 minutes. It's not that the length of one episode is too short, it's that you were too engrossed in watching it. At this moment, Xiao Zioxi realized that his worries when watching the title were a bit unnecessary. Since the main movie started, she has been completely immersed in the plot. Even if she watched the young female general in the drama holding Zixi's face, she could not be distracted for a moment, so she could not worry about anything else. Zioxi, how many episodes of this drama are broadcast in a day? Xiao Zioxi came back to her senses, turned around and saw her mother's unfinished expression. She stretched out and said, 2 episodes. It's only 2 episodes. Yeah, only 2 episodes. This episode has already made the two of them want to stop. The thought of having to wait until tomorrow night to watch the new plot after watching the next episode makes the imported cherries in their hands no longer taste good. And she could even think of the scene in the future where she would eagerly stay in front of the TV every day, waiting for updates. I knew I should have waited a little longer. After the show was finished, there would be a complete source of the film online, and I would enjoy watching it in one go. No, let's not talk about whether she can wait until then with her patience, she still needs her family Zixi to contribute in the ratings. But she really doesn't need to worry about this. The staff member responsible for recording this data watched the playback rate of Empress Yuan Zhao rising continuously since its launch. It did not stop rising until the end of the film, and the whole person was numb. According to common sense, if a TV series is well promoted and marketed in the early stage, and if popular actors participate, it will indeed experience a cliff-like surge in ratings when it starts broadcasting. But when the main film starts to air, there will basically be a big or small decline. It may be because it does not meet expectations, or the plot feels a bit bland and not attractive enough. When the second episode is aired, the number of people who choose to continue watching, commonly known as if the retention rate is 50 to 60%, it is considered a very good drama. After all, everyone has their own preferences, and it is impossible for one drama to win the favor of everyone. But even for a drama like this that can already be called a classic, 7 or 8 dramas can be released in a year, which is incredible. If there is a slump in film and television dramas, there will be times when there is not even one. Like now, the retention rate after watching one episode is ridiculously high, and the ratings have not fallen back but are still rising. This is the first time he has seen it in 8 years of working in the industry. Maybe I can actually witness the birth of a phenomenon-level explosive drama this time. It's exciting just to think about it. Zhang Lingzi listened to the ending song that she had just heard sung live by a real person yesterday, and expressed her feelings after watching the episode. It's quite nostalgic. When she was young in the previous generation, to use today's words to describe her, she was fearless and rebellious, full of energy and dared to stand shoulder to shoulder with the sun. But after that, things changed a lot. No, it's not that she has changed. She is still fearless. She just learned to pretend to be serious, and later on, pretending became real. Xiaoji heard her voice and looked over. Is what was filmed on TV the same as His Majesty's original experience? The story is the same. After all, she personally participated in revising the script, but the rest, in the TV series I can only shoot 10 out of 10. Not only because it requires artistic processing to increase the visibility, but also because the cruelty of war and the game between people's hearts cannot be fully performed by acting alone. Even if she were to play the role of herself as a teenager, from her point of view, it actually doesn't look too much like her. But as long as the audience feels like it, that's fine. If this were said to Jiao Zioxi and other viewers who were watching the show, it would not only be like this. When they watched, the only thing they could see was Empress Yuan Zhao herself. As for the actor Zhang Lingzi, they only remembered it after watching the show. Oh, it turned out to be this actress. When watching the drama, the only thing they liked was the high-spirited young Empress Yuan Zhao in the drama. By the time the second episode was finished, it was already almost 10 o'clock in the evening. Xiaoji insisted on listening to the ending song as well. Zhang Lingzi pulled Shen Yunqing up to get ready to rest. Before I even reached the bedroom, my phone in my pocket vibrated several times. When I got back home and took out my phone, I saw a new message 99+ displayed in the team group. The shock just now was that almost everyone in the group liked her. Zhang Lingzi, aren't you still asleep? Lu Zhenzhen, Sister Zixi, the internet is blowing up right now and you can still sleep. Fang Yao, I just finished watching Empress Yuan Zhao, I'm still a little excited and can't sleep. Sister Zixi's acting skills are so good, so praise. Xiao Xiao, I can't wait to see the rest of the plot. Tong Yu, Zixi, have you checked the hot searches? The rankings have been rising. Zhang Lingzi, not yet. Tong Yu, hurry up and go see it. Zhang Lingzi went back and took Shen Yunqing's mobile phone on the table and clicked on the hot search. At a glance, I saw the entry for #Empress Yuan Zhao #, followed by a big red explosion. Following closely behind is #Empress Yuan Zhao player of Prime Minister Shen #. She opened it conveniently. The first thing on the topic is the stills that flashed before in the opening part of the film. After all, the 2 episodes that have just aired have not yet had their turn for Prime Minister Shen to appear, so the only screenshots that everyone can take are the opening credits. I have always been curious about the actor who plays Prime Minister Shen. Now I finally see the true face of Lushan. Anyway, it meets my expectations. What do you think? Isn't this the Mr. Shen who was very popular on the internet some time ago and everyone wants to meet by chance? Isn't this a professional actor? I previously participated in the recording of The Inheritance of Calligraphy and Painting and was one of the commentators. I introduced it on the program at that time. Come on, let me give you some free science. Although he is not a professional actor, his appearance and temperament are very consistent with the description of Prime Minister Shen in the history books. I am already looking forward to the appearance of our Prime Minister Shen. A title that only lasts a few seconds is really not satisfying. I just want to know in which episode does Prime Minister Shen appear? Empress vs Prime Minister Shen, it was just edited, but unfortunately there is too little food and grass now. I am waiting for Prime Minister Shen to appear in the feature film. I can't wait to see me show off my skills. The picture is so interesting. This CP fan's backhand is a concern. Zhang Lingzi carefully scrolled through the comments on the internet, and conveniently collected the CP pictures edited by netizens. Until a dark shadow fell in front of her, she looked up and saw that the main character had washed up and was standing in front of her. Why are you looking so seriously? She handed over her phone and said, Prime Minister Shen, congratulations, it's on the hot search. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 704. When Zhang Lingzi came back from washing, she saw that the mobile phone she had returned before washing was still in the owner's hand and looked at it seriously. Are you still looking at it? I just came across an article by a film and television critic commenting on Empress Yuan Zhao. Let me see. Zhang Lingzi opened the quilt and got into bed, and her head naturally rested on Shen Yunqing's shoulder. Shen Yunqing cooperatively moved the article to the beginning, and the two of them just started reading with their heads touching. Non-famous film and television critic, I just watched Empress Yuan Zhao, which premiered today. I wanted to wait until I got up tomorrow morning to write this article. After all, it was a bit late, but in the end I couldn't hold it back and waited for my brain to calm down. By now, people are already sitting in front of the computer, so let's start writing. The abilities of director Wei Xiao and his team are recognized by the audience, especially the costume dramas directed by this director, who are famous for their slow work and meticulous work. Produced by Wei Xiao, quality guaranteed. So I won't go into details here. This time I mainly want to talk about the heroine chosen by director Wei, Zhang Lingzi, who plays Empress Yuan Zhao. I believe that when many people learned that Wei Xiao had chosen Zhang Lingzi as the female lead in Empress Yuan Zhao, their first reaction was that there was something wrong with director Wei's vision, and I was no exception. I simply don't understand why director Wei would choose such a young actress with no acting skills to speak of before to play one of the most famous empresses in history. Can she really support such a character? So, I watched this TV series with a critical eye from the beginning. I made up my mind that if the Empress Yuan Zhao played by Zhang Lingzi did not meet my image of the Empress, I would immediately turn off the TV and ask director Wei if there was any inside story behind this selection. Then, 2 hours passed without me realizing it. I only turned off the TV after watching the preview of the third episode. Use 4 words to describe it, the meaning is still unfinished. Although there are only 2 short episodes so far, and they still play the role of Empress Yuan Zhao in her teenage years, I have to say that Zhang Lingzi really expresses the high-spirited and wanton young empress in my mind, and for a moment I thought she was the young empress. Personally, I believe there should be many viewers who feel the same way as me. The performances of other actors are also wonderful, but this time Zhang Lingzi gave me an amazing feeling. Perhaps it is also because the age difference between the actor herself and the current character is not too big. I wonder if Zhang Lingzi can handle the middle-aged empress and the old empress so well. If she can do it, and the subsequent episodes can maintain the same quality level as the first 2 episodes, then I have a hunch that this will be the first phenomenal work of the year. If other TV series want to surpass it, I guess I have to use all my strength to the milk. I will continue to follow this drama, and I will update my thoughts and comments after watching the drama from time to time. Friends who like to read my comments can pay attention. Thank you, good night, and sweet dreams. Zhang Lingzi watched helplessly as Shen Yunqing used his trumpet to pay attention to this non-famous film and television critic. I'll see how he praises you later. If I can't even act myself well, then it's okay if the actor doesn't do it, but this time it was indeed a coincidence, and there will be no such coincidences in the future. That's not necessarily true. There may be other TV series or movies related to Empress Yuan Zhao in the future. Zhang Lingzi frowned and thought for a while, feeling that it was really possible. After all, the film and television industry is becoming more and more prosperous now. Sometimes a historical figure will appear in many TV series or movies. Some are regarded as classics, while others are ridiculed by the crowd. But as long as one of the TV series or characters in the TV series becomes popular, there will most likely be others who will follow suit. After all, the popularity gained should not be wasted. Will there be another role to play the role of Empress Yuan Zhao? Then I won't act anymore, Zhang Lingzi thought for a while and shook her head. It's not interesting to play myself all the time. Let's try other roles. Well, that's true. The two of them talked in a low voice and fell asleep hugging each other after a while. But there are many people who can't sleep this night. There are those like Tongyu who are too excited to sleep, and there are also those like Zhou Lingyu who pinched their noses and immediately fell into worry after watching the first 2 episodes of Empress Yuan Zhao. The pie in the entertainment industry is only so big, and there are countless good projects in the industry every year. Many people compete for acting opportunities, and privately they can fight to death. Zhang Lingzi's strong rise can now be seen by anyone with eyes, and there is one more person who is qualified to compete for the smallest and sweetest cake on the top. What's more, the other party not only has the bonus of fashion circle and commercial value, but also has a popular TV series during the Chinese New Year. Even if you do nothing during the Chinese New Year, there will be continuous popularity. It's despairing just to think about it. How can this person be so lucky? Zhou Lingyu angrily finished the red wine in the cup to help her sleep, but she couldn't fall asleep after tossing and turning, so she simply took the phone and made a call regardless of whether the manager was asleep or not. Past. Sister, you must help me win the role of Xiao Chan in Queen Xiao. Agent Zhou Lingyu, who had just been woken up by the phone and received such a mandatory task, what? Zhou Lingyu gritted her teeth. Originally, I was very sure about this role, but I watched Empress Yuan Zhao played by Zhang Lingzi today, and I always felt that she would be the biggest opponent this time. Okay, the manager rubbed his swollen temples. I'll contact the director of Queen Xiao tomorrow. It's already late, so go to bed quickly. Zhou Lingyu held the hung-up phone, sat on the bed and pursed her lips. She also wanted to sleep, but it wasn't like she couldn't sleep. Asterisk. The next day, Zhang Lingzi went to the company after a good sleep. He was greeted by 3 pairs of conspicuous dark circles. What did you do last night? Tongyu looked at Zhang Lingzi's red face, with no trace of blue or black under her eyes. She could tell at a glance that she had slept particularly well last night, and said a little annoyed, "You think everyone is as calm as you? We were so excited that we couldn't sleep all night." Lu Zhengzheng raised his hand. "I've been watching videos, and now there are edited versions of the first 2 episodes of Empress Yuan Zhao online, and I haven't stopped watching them. I'm also confused myself, just those 2 episodes. Why can't I get enough of this episode over and over again?" Fang Yao was a little embarrassed. "I also wandered around the internet all night, and when I didn't pay attention, I realized that it was already done outside." "Zhang Lingzi, you are really good at it." The 3 of them said in unison, "You are even better." It's obviously normal for them to be so excited that they couldn't fall asleep all night, but it's abnormal for them to be able to sleep calmly. Okay. Now Empress Yuan Zhao has climbed to the top of the hot search list. I would have never dared to think that it could reach this position a few years ago. By the way, there are also many film and television critics who are also Lu. I have been posting articles one after another, and they are basically all praises, and it has also aroused a lot of enthusiasm. By the way, I heard that several film and television companies have come to inquire about purchasing the online broadcast rights of Empress Yuan Zhao. Tongyu finished all the information she had learned so far, and finally took a deep breath. I can already imagine the script and various invitations to be received in the future. Zhang Lingzi silently looked at her dreamy expression for a while, and then reminded her, "Are you still going to take annual leave?" It seems that Tongyu is not planning to give herself a holiday, but she still wants to take a holiday. She even thought about how to spend her first year here. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 705. Tongyu seemed to have forgotten what she just said a few days ago. Annual leave? What annual leave? I don't know what annual leave is now. I just want to work, and I love work. Zhang Lingzi waited for her to finish her righteous words, "As long as you are happy. However, I have planned to set aside at least 3 days to have a good New Year with my family. During these 3 days, there is nothing big and I can't disturb you. I. Tong Yu frowned and thought for a while, then nodded helplessly, okay then. And here, Zhang Lingzi took out the red envelope that Shen Yunqing had wrapped for her before she came over. Originally, I thought I was here to discuss the annual leave. This is a New Year's red envelope for you in advance. Everyone's name was written in golden ink on the red envelope. Of course, she would have never thought of such a detailed matter. It was all done by Shen Yunqing. The three of them received their own red envelopes with surprises on their faces. Lu Zhengzheng couldn't help but open it first, and took out a stack of brand new banknotes without counting them and feeling the thickness. Is this 20,000? That's not true, 18,008. I heard that everyone likes numbers like this now. Fang Yao could tell at a glance that her and Lu Zhengzheng's red envelopes were about the same thickness. She originally thought that she came to Sister Zixi later than Lu Zhengzheng, maybe a little less, but Sister Zixi treated them equally. Lu Zhengzheng smiled so hard that he couldn't see his teeth. Hey, I like it too, I'm going to show off. Fang Yao has sharp eyes, there seems to be something in the red envelope. Lu Zhengzheng put the money away, carefully dug into the red envelope, and took out a red brocade bag. Inside the brocade bag was a lifelike little golden pig made of gold. Wow, Sister Zixi knows that I am a pig. She subconsciously weighed the little golden pig, and had a hunch that the value of the golden pig might not be lower than that of the stack of banknotes. The key point is that this is the first time in her life that she has received such a large red envelope and such weighty gold. Fang Yao was originally reluctant to open the exquisite red envelope in his hand, but now he couldn't help it anymore. She is born in the year of the dog, so there must be a gold puppy in it. Tong Yu was ready to put the red envelope directly into her bag and wait to open it later. However, her curiosity was aroused, so she just opened it too. Her red envelope is even thicker. The stack of banknotes definitely exceeds 20,000 yuan at a glance. The red envelope is not a childish animal this time, but a heavy solid plain bracelet, which is suitable for her age. Tong Yu simply put it on her wrist and took a photo with her phone, taking a photo of a corner of the pile of banknotes on the table, and then logged into her agent account and posted an update. Manager Tong Yu V, New Year's gift for our artists, let's share it together. Pictures. Lu Zhengzheng and Fang Yao also followed suit and took photos to publish updates. Soon, there were a lot of likes and comments on the posts of the three people. I am so impressed. Is it still too late to apply for Zixi's assistant after the new year? There is actually gold, I strongly recommend that all bosses learn from it. I don't even expect to have such a large piece of gold. If I have 10 grams in the New Year's red envelope, I will laugh until I wake up. If I could receive a red envelope worth tens of thousands during the Chinese New Year, I can't imagine how bright and cheerful I would be. It has long been out of date to try to make a big picture. This is the ultimate secret to making employees evolve from listless to high-spirited during work. Originally, this was just a whim sharing by Tong Yu and the other three, but they seem to have forgotten that now the word Zhonglingzi has its own popularity. Unknowingly, the entry hashtag agent and assistant showing off New Year's gifts hashtag has unknowingly climbed to the tail of the hot search. A group of celebrities who learned the news but had not yet prepared to give red envelopes to their subordinates. Damn it, I was beaten to the punch again. There are still several days until the Chinese New Year, why are you in a hurry? However, Tong Yu, who still knows nothing about it at this moment, is already discussing other things with Zhang Lingzi. The other thing is the public relations gift for the new year. Zioxi, do you have any ideas? They never considered this at all before. After all, they were not popular at that time, and they had no endorsements, and there was no need to pretend to be fat. But today is different from the past, so this public relations gift is quite necessary. In fact, it is a bit late for her to prepare now. Several celebrity studios have already shown off their prepared New Year gift boxes. They are still thinking about forgetting what gifts to put in the gift box. After Zhang Lingzi silently searched what the PR gift box was, she looked up and heard Tong Yu say, usually these gift boxes contain brands endorsed by artists, or items that have both meaning and practicality, such as quilts, small appliances, blankets, etc. But for your current two endorsements, cars are not considered. They are too valuable to be stuffed into gift boxes. In addition, I checked jewelry brands. The cheapest ones are tens of thousands, so they are not suitable. Then I can only choose the latter, but if it's the latter, I want to give it something new. Tong Yu pinched her eyebrows as she spoke. It's difficult. But this is the first time we send out PR gift boxes, so I thought it would be better to make it a little special. If Zheng Zheng and Yao Yao have any ideas, you can mention them. Zhang Lingzi saw the three of them thinking hard and said, actually, there is another endorsement. What? Tong Yu looked over in confusion. Why didn't I know you had an endorsement? I received it myself, King Ian Technology, the second generation VR glasses. I remember that the basic model of this kind of glasses only costs a few thousand. It is not particularly expensive, and it is a new product that will be released soon. Before Zhang Lingzi could finish speaking, Tong Yu excitedly held her arm. Okay, that's it. Then I'll find someone to purchase a batch and send it over. Sister Tong, you can prepare the gift box. The person he was looking for was naturally Shen Qingzhou. Apart from him, Zhang Lingzi didn't know anyone else from King Ian Technology. After receiving the call, Shen Qingzhou immediately took care of everything. I'll take care of it all. Also, would you like my cousin to make some small designs on these glasses to distinguish them from those sold on the market? Would it be too much trouble? No, no, this is also a piece of publicity, and it will only do good and not bad for King Ian. The new year is the year of the dragon, so I will hand draw a small portrait of a moving dragon for you later, take a photo of it, and print it on my glasses. Yes, very yes. By the way, when will I go over to shoot the commercial? You didn't even ask me. Tong Yu, who was contacting the gift box manufacturer on the side, almost got sprained by the high heels under her feet. She thought her artist had quietly finished filming the commercial, and the relationship hadn't been filmed yet. Shen Qingzhou, as long as my cousin-in-law has time, I'll be waiting here at any time. He didn't want to ask, he just didn't dare. It's almost the Chinese New Year. What if I accidentally disturb the world of my cousin and sister-in-law, and my cousin gets angry and refuses to approve the funds? Compared with making advertisements and approving research funds, the latter is naturally more important. Then let's do it tomorrow. Where will it be filmed? Just at King Ian Technology. Okay, I'll take the team there tomorrow. Shen Qingzhou had no choice but to swallow back what he said when he went to pick her up in person. Okay, cousin. Just after hanging up the phone, the door to the research room opened silently, and a lady with long, slightly curly hair in a light-colored suit walked in. I just heard you calling me cousin. My cousin is coming over tomorrow to shoot a commercial for the second generation VR glasses. After saying this, Shen Qingzhou watched his fiancée change from a royal sister to a fangirl in seconds. When is tomorrow? Is it too late for me to order flowers now? Do you think it is better for me to dress more maturely or look younger when I see my cousin tomorrow? Do you want your hair to be tied up? Also, I must be among the people greeting my cousin. Shen Qingzhou. Why does he have a premonition that he will fall out of favor? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 706. I think it's more natural to just follow your usual style. I think so. What about flowers? Will my cousin like them? And drinks and desserts, does my cousin prefer tea or coffee, Western snacks or Chinese snacks? Shen Qingzhou became more and more aggrieved as he listened. How could I know this so clearly? You have never paid such serious attention to me before. Don't we both have the same preferences? What's the use of you? I'd better check it out myself. Tu Susu left him with a ruthless back. Leave Shen Qingzhou behind with Erkang in hand. Before he could ask if he wanted to have lunch together later, he had just discovered a newly opened restaurant. When Zhang Lingzi arrived at Kingian Technology Company the next day, as soon as she got off the car, she caught a particularly hot look from the crowd opposite who had come down in advance to greet her. Of course, it may also be because of the large bouquet of red roses in the other person's hand. Shen Qingzhou took a step forward and said, "Sister-in-law." However, Tu Susu was faster than him. "Hello, cousin, I am Tu Susu, the Administrative General Manager of Kingian Technology, and I am also your fan. Welcome to come. These are the flowers I prepared, I hope you like it." Shen Qingzhou. "Okay, rob him of all his words." "Thank you, the flowers are beautiful, and people are more beautiful than flowers." The already bright smile on Tu Susu's face suddenly became brighter after hearing the following words, "My cousin is even more beautiful than on TV. I finally fully understand the term grand beauty." The people on both sides stood around the two of them, looking at them as you praised me and I praised you, and they looked at each other for a while. Especially the people at Kingian Technology, they can only control their expressions by gritting their teeth. Who would have thought that General Tuda, who is even more unprovoked than Mr. Shen in Kingian Technology, would look like this when he meets his favorite idol? It simply subverts their cognition. "My cousin, you've had a hard time coming all the way. I've prepared drinks and some food. How about we take a break before we start shooting? Then I'll just listen to Susu's arrangements." Zhang Lingzi could tell that the girl in front of her really liked her and was not pretending to be enthusiastic because of other relationships. Moreover, the other party is not only enthusiastic, but also very meticulous and thoughtful in all arrangements. Delicate, elegant, calm, and capable, it turns out that this is the kind of person Shen Qingzhou likes. To be honest, she likes it too. The two of them entered the door hand in hand and walked towards the waiting room that had been arranged. Shen Qingzhou, a serious boss, could only scratch his nose and follow behind obediently. Then came the few people greeted by Tongyu and Kingian Technology. It's not the time for annual leave yet, and it's regular working hours. Naturally, there are many Kingian Technology employees coming and going. When he passed by Zhang Lingzi and Tu Susu, he was shocked and delighted with the former. When he saw the latter walking aside, he calmed down instantly and said, "Good morning, Tu Guan." Tu Susu nodded to the employees who greeted him. His attitude was cold, but everyone responded. When he entered the lounge, Zhang Lingzi couldn't help but ask, "Why do people in your company call you Tu Guan?" Although she has never been a company employee, if she remembers correctly, Tu Susu's position should not be called Mr. Tu, just like she heard everyone call Mr. Shen Qingzhou Mr. Shen. Tu Guan is an abbreviation, and the full name is Tu de Guanjia. Tu Susu said and pointed to the sofa. "Sister-in-law, sit down. As you have seen all the way here just now, the employees of our company are basically young people. The atmosphere is also more lively. It just so happens that my position is in charge of all aspects, just like a big housekeeper, so some people thought it was good to call it that way, and then everyone followed suit." She said and blinked. "Doesn't it feel quite different?" "It's really different. After drinking tea and eating snacks, we started shooting the advertisement." Zhang Lingzi could really see Tu Susu's working ability. Ying Ying made overall arrangements, everything was planned thoroughly, and she also paid great attention to the balance between work and rest. It would not make the staff responsible for the shooting and her feel tired, nor would it disturb the normal work of other employees at all, nor was any short time spent. Just a few minutes. Work efficiency is ridiculously high. It's not yet noon, and the entire commercial, from promotional video to short film, has been shot. Everyone is still in high spirits, except for being a little hungry. When Zhang Lingzi saw Shen Qingzhou again, he endured it again and again before resisting the urge to ask for the person over. Her current temple is too small, so asking people to come here would be overkill. And Shen Qingzhou could not be willing to let him go. Having another meal together at noon, Tu Susu not only got the autograph of her idol's cousin-in-law, but also went a step further and added her contact information, and then she was satisfied and reluctant to send her to the car. I will go and pay New Year greetings to my cousin-in-law during the Chinese New Year. Okay, I'll wait for you. I'll give you a big red envelope when the time comes. Close the car door. Tong Yu couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. This Miss Tu is so amazing. As the words fell, everyone else in the car, including Zhang Lingzi, nodded in agreement. I finally know where the name Tu Guan comes from, Lu Zhengzheng said and clenched his fists. I want to learn from her. I hope that one day, someone can call me Lezu. Fang Yao followed closely. I also want to be called Fang Zhu. Zhang Lingzi patted their shoulders and encouraged, come on. The people under her command have to work hard, and as her immediate boss, she is naturally happy to see this succeed. Tong Yu took out her vibrating work phone from her bag, glanced at the number on it, and made a silent gesture. Hello, Director Tang. The role of Xiao Chan in The Queen Xiao, I must have heard of it. It is our honor that you like it. I will tell Xiao 11 and then get back to you. Okay, goodbye, and wish you a happy new year in advance. After hanging up the phone, Lu Zhengzheng couldn't help but ask, is it the director of Queen Xiao who asked Sister Zixi to play Xiao Chan? Tong Yu nodded from ear to ear. Empress Xiao is the largest production among the several film and television projects that have been rumored since the beginning of the year. The film crew must have seen your popularity, Xiao 11. In addition, Empress Yuan Zhao, his acting skills have also been recognized by the public, and now even his shortcomings in acting are gone. But I heard that the role of Xiao Chan has been assigned to Zhou Lingyu, a queen professional. Tong Yu waved her hand and said disdainfully, this is just a rumor deliberately released by Zhou Lingyu's studio to increase the probability of being selected. But for such a big production and such an important role, how can she be so accurate with just a few tricks? It falls on her. Give her 4 words, wishful thinking. She said and looked at Zhang Lingzi, what about you, Zioxi? What do you think? Xiao Chan lived in a period before Dayan was established. Zhang Lingzi believed that she had better historical data than anyone else in the world. When asked, she concluded without thinking, Xiao Chan, Queen of Xiao, the 4 great dynasties during the period of mutual strength, she became the only regent and empress dowager of the Xiao kingdom at the time of her second marriage. She was also a woman who was at the peak of her power until her death. She was indeed a rare heroine. Tong Yu nodded and frowned, but I don't think your reaction seems to be very interested in this role. Well, I simply don't like Xiao Chan. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 707. Fang Yao expressed doubts in a low voice, why? I think she is quite similar to Empress Yuan Zhao. Although she did not claim the title of emperor, her status as empress and empress dowager was almost the same as that of the emperor. How similar is it? She can kill her and her ex-husband's children just for the power she wants. If Empress Yuan Zhao had children, she would never choose to kill her own children for anything. Xiao Chan is a person who desires power. He is too unscrupulous. How can he be compared with Empress Yuan Zhao? Zhang Lingzi swallowed back the words, I don't want to be associated with her. Sister Tong, push it away. Tong Yu looked at Zhang Lingzi's expression that suddenly became serious because of Fang Yao's comparison. Inexplicably, she didn't dare to refute this issue anymore, so she had to look for other angles. Actually, it's usually difficult for actors to meet their special needs. If you choose a character based on your preferences alone, no one will play a hated villain. Otherwise, if you think about it, the opportunity is really rare. If you turn it down, you may be really advantageous to Zhou Lingyu. Zhang Lingzi met Tong Yu's distressed eyes and pursed her lips. Actually, there is another reason why I turned her down. I played the role of Empress Yuan Zhao, but I didn't want to always stick to the label given to me by Empress Yuan Zhao. This kind of reluctance is the same. In this type of drama, I only want to play the one with the best character and the strongest strength, and I don't want to make do with the others. Tong Yu. This makes her don't know how to refute. He also praised Empress Yuan Zhao for being the best in character and strength. He said, "Are you still a fan of Empress Yuan Zhao?" Zhang Lingzi nodded without changing her expression. She is her fan. Is there a problem with this? Absolutely not. When Lu Zhengzheng heard this, she couldn't help but interjected, "Sister Zixi, if Zhou Lingyu knew what you said, I'm afraid she would be so angry that she would vomit blood." Why are people called queen professionals? Naturally, in the costume dramas of the past few years, as long as the character is called queen, regardless of the main cast, they basically have the face of Zhou Lingyu. It made other actresses not even bother to compete. Don't interrupt, Tong Yu glared at Lu Zhengzheng, then raised her hand to rest her forehead. I won't force you if you don't want to play Xiao Chan, but we can't reject Director Tang so quickly. I have to think carefully first. If you want to make excuses, you can't just tell people that you simply don't like the role of Xiao Chan. But speaking of this, I just want to ask you, do you have any roles you want to play next? Except for being similar to Empress Yuan Zhao, everything else is fine. Tong Yu. This answer is almost like no reply. If there happens to be another good script offer in the past 2 days, it would be better to refuse it. Zhang Lingzi looked at her anxious look and said, "Don't worry, let's celebrate the new year first." Tong Yu almost laughed out of anger. "I think for you, nothing can compare to the coming new year." You're okay. This year means something different to me. Okay, anyway, with the results you have achieved this year, I never dreamed of it at the beginning of the year. Even at that time, she was already thinking about how she would find another job for this girl to support herself if people really went through the center of the earth. Fortunately, she no longer had to worry about this at all. If you can't live a good year, it will be my fault. The nanny's car drove to Z1, and Zhang Lingzi got up and got out of the car. When the car started again, Fan Yao pulled Tong Yu's sleeves uneasily and asked in a low voice, "Sister Tong, I just said the wrong thing. Is Sister Zixi angry with me?" Tong Yu was stunned for a moment when she was asked. She remembered what the girl had said before and smiled with relief. "You are overthinking it. If Zioxi is really angry with you, she won't hide it and let you guess. If she is really angry, that scene." Tong Yu shook her head and quickly stopped thinking about it. "Don't think so wildly, it's nothing." Lu Zhengzheng directly put his arm around Fan Yao's shoulders. "Actually, I think what you said is right. I just don't know why Sister Zixi reacted a little bit this time, but I don't see that Sister Zixi is angry. You really think too much." Fan Yao nodded sheepishly and decided to go back and make up some information about Xiao Chan. Asterisk. What do you mean you are still considering the selection? Didn't you tell Director Tang that I have specifically made my schedule available? Is there a more suitable candidate for this role than me? Is there someone who still wants to bring money to join the team? The agent looked at Zhou Lingyu's mouth in front of him, which opened and closed with a series of questions popping up in the blink of an eye, and felt a headache. The film crew also has Director Tang, and they probably have their own considerations, so we'd better wait patiently. The daylilies will be cold if we wait any longer. Zhou Lingyu waved her hands anxiously and spun around in a circle, suddenly looking nervous again. Do you think they were already thinking about Zhang Lingzi, so why did they hesitate? Give me an accurate answer. Zhou Lingyu said as she opened the phone she was holding tightly. She looked at the 3 words Zhang Lingzi on the screen. which had been on the air for 3 days and were still firmly on the hot search list. She seemed to be trying to distinguish those 3 words with her eyes. After seeing through it, it's been 3 days since it aired and it's still on the hot search list. I must have bought it. The manager opened his mouth but did not refute. He turned around and drank a big mouthful of iced American style. She really didn't know how to persuade someone who was going straight into the bull's horns and couldn't pull him back. As an actor, it is actually very scary to be stuck in the same role. You are very suitable for this role, but there will always be others who are also suitable for this role. Actors must adapt to a variety of different roles so that they can have a wider range of roles and more choices. But Zhou Lingyu has narrowed her own path and feels that such a role must be hers in the entire entertainment industry. And I don't know if it's because she has played too many roles as the queen, but she didn't see any changes in her acting skills from role to role, but her self-centered demeanor has been completely established, and it's really cool to bring it back to real life. People around me are tired. Anyway, she is really tired now. She is an agent, not an old nanny who is responsible for serving the queen. Privately, she was even thinking that it would be great if Zhang Lingzi took away this role. Perhaps it can stimulate Zhou Lingyu to wake up from the good feeling of only I can play the queen in one fell swoop. Although Zhou Lingyu kept saying that Zhang Lingzi's hot search was bought, her hand actually clicked on it honestly. Clenched his teeth and looked at the discussion among netizens with a sullen face, including some familiar and well-known celebrities. Until I came across a picture posted by a well-known Big V that had a lot of likes. English text: Empress Yuan Zhao and her Prime Minister Shen finally began to intersect in destiny. She stared at the face of the Prime Minister in white with wide eyes. Isn't this the male assistant who followed Zhang Lingzi when she went to the International Fashion Festival? Why did he play Prime Minister Shen? What is the relationship between these two people? The manager listened and could only helplessly hold his forehead. You don't care how they participated in the show and what the relationship is, it has nothing to do with us. How could it be okay? Zhou Lingyu's eyes shone strangely. They play the role of monarch and minister in the drama. In reality, it is probably that kind of relationship. Otherwise, how else to explain that Zhang Lingzi brought such a male assistant with her when she went abroad? Wasn't it just for warmth? Is it a bed? What would it be like if the viewers who are watching the show know that they have this kind of relationship in reality? If Zhang Lingzi is not good, then wouldn't she be fine? How could this not matter? End of chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 708. After waiting for several days, many netizens finally waited until the Prime Minister Shen they had longed for appeared. Originally, everyone was a little worried about not being a professional actor, but playing such an important role in a costume drama. If the acting skills are not up to standard, they should be able to barely watch it for the sake of that face and that overall temperament. Go down? Who's got their appetites whetted by the high-level content of the previous episodes as at the beginning? Until I finally saw on the TV screen the Prime Minister in white who was trusted by emperors in the history books and was still famous for thousands of years after his death. The movement is pleasant and antique. He looks exactly like the Prime Minister Shen in history. It fits my idea of Prime Minister Shen so well. The character in the history books has a face again. Finally, I no longer have to rely on my own imagination. I have to say that the casting selection by the TV director is really excellent. When the casting for Empress Yuan Zhao was open before, I reviewed all the male actors in the industry, especially those suitable for ancient costumes, but I always felt a little dissatisfied with either their appearance or temperament. I didn't expect director Wei to directly find him a non-entertainment person came, which was a bold move, but we did find the right person. The key is that Prime Minister Shen doesn't feel stiff at all to me. This line should be the original sound. It is exactly the same as the legend of calligraphy and painting handed down from generation to generation. It is so recognizable. And it feels clearer than the voices of some professional actors, and you can hear clearly what is being said without subtitles. Am I the only one who is consuming silently? The scene where the two met face to face for the first time, coupled with the movement of the camera, oh my god, I felt a breath of fresh air from the soles of my feet to the sky. I have never felt so comfortable all winter. It's a perfect match. You are not alone in front of me. I would like to call the meeting of these two people a fateful encounter. When I read the fanfics of these two people before, I wondered what they would look like together, and now I finally have a picture. But in history, Empress Yuan Zhao only appreciated her Prime Minister Shen. Just like a boss now has subordinates who he values especially, don't overdo it, you still have to respect history. I also want to say that today's young people are a bit too casual about CP. If Empress Yuan Zhao really liked Prime Minister Shen, no one would be able to get her power in the world, but she and Prime Minister Shen would stick to it all their lives, the courtesy of a monarch and his ministers. I have objections to this statement. The specific basis is that Empress Yuan Zhao had an empty harem all her life, let alone an imperial husband. She didn't even have a male favorite around her, and her personal protective guards were all female guards. Prime Minister Shen also never married a wife in his life. Then if they are really interested in each other, why don't they just stay together? There should be many considerations. In the ancient feudal monarchy, even the prince-in-law had to withdraw from the center of power and no longer have real power if he married a princess, let alone marry the emperor. So by then, would Prime Minister Shen still do it? Should he continue to live in the Prime Minister's palace or enter the Empress harem? What will the ministers of the Manchu dynasty think then? After all, who doesn't want to be the Prime Minister? Chaogang's stability is related to the stability of the world. Whether it is Empress Yuan Zhao or Prime Minister Shen, they are not people who do these things just based on impulse. It seems that even if you reach the top of power, you still have many options. Tong Yu took Lu Zhengzheng and Fang Yao to open the gift boxes sent by the studios of major artists who had interacted with their own artists. When she looked up, she saw that the person who was supposed to open the gifts was lying on his side on the recliner, holding his arms in one hand. A pillow that had just been taken out of the gift box, with a mobile phone in one hand and looking at it seriously. The 8th episode was aired last night. The long-awaited Prime Minister Shen finally came out. How are the comments online now? Are there a lot of them? Zhang Lingzi nodded, I'm reading it, and the reviews are basically positive. It's just that everyone was chatting and there was some controversy. Tong Yu paused in untying the ribbon. What kind of controversy? Zhang Lingzi sat up from the recliner and glanced at the dazzling array of gift boxes on the table in front of her. Someone ate the CP of Empress Yuan Zhao and Prime Minister Shen, and thought they were worthy of each other. Some people think that we should respect historical facts. According to historical data, the two people only have the friendship of monarchs and ministers. It is best not to make random remarks about the CP of historical figures. What do you three think? Which faction do you stand on? The three people who were asked looked at each other. Lu Zhengzheng was the first to raise her hand to answer, I am on the CP side. I am not only a CP fan of Empress Yuan Zhao and Prime Minister Shen, but also a CP fan of Sister Zixi and Mr. Shen. Actually, sometimes I wonder, what if Empress Yuan Zhao and Prime Minister Shen were like what was written in the novel I read, and they could travel through thousands of years and come to our time, and abandon the shackles of their respective identities, they would be together, right? Zhang Lingzi couldn't help but take another look at Lu Zhengzheng's round head. This little girl actually discovered the truth. Fang Yao followed Lu Zhengzheng to choose a faction. I still think Empress Yuan Zhao and Prime Minister Shen are just a relationship between monarchs and ministers, but I am also a CP fan of Sister Zixi and Mr. Shen. Roles are roles, and reality is reality. As long as it's okay if you don't bring real-life relationships into the characters. And when you're watching TV, you can't imagine so much when you're immersed in the plot. Tong Yu shook her head with a smile, I don't stand for anyone. It's been 1,000 years. What are the two real people in history? How can it be 100% correct based on existing historical data? It's okay to just have the friendship between monarch and minister. Silently love each other and protect each other. I just know that no matter which faction the netizens are on, they just want to increase the popularity of our drama. The last sentence received unanimous nods from Lu Zhengzheng and Fang Yao. I thought that the hot search list would drop off after a few days, but I didn't expect that as soon as Prime Minister Shen showed up, not only did he not drop off, but he moved up one spot. Controversy leads to popularity. Lu Zhengzheng looked at Zhang Lingzi, who stood up and walked towards the side. Sister Zixi, when you played Empress Yuan Zhao, did you think Empress Yuan Zhao in history had feelings for Prime Minister Shen other than being a monarch? Zhang Lingzi took out a box of chocolates from one of the gift boxes, opened it and ate one, then handed one to Shen Yunqing, who had just walked in from outside. What do you think? What? Hearing the sudden sound behind him, Lu Zhengzheng's hands trembled subconsciously, and he almost dropped the perfume gift box he was holding on his feet. Shen, Mr. Shen is back. We are discussing with Sister Zixi what is being discussed on the internet. Shen Yunqing took the mobile phone handed over by Zhang Lingzi and flipped through the discussion above. He listened to Lu Zhengzheng repeat the question he had not heard clearly before in a low voice. He raised his head and met His Majesty's smiling eyes again, and couldn't help but clear his throat. Compared with other ministers in the court, I think Your Majesty, well, Prime Minister Shen does have a certain preference for Xianzhong. Zhang Lingzi smiled and nodded. Yes, I understand it well, and I think I do have a preference. This preference can be understood as because of the minister's outstanding ability, or it can be understood as just because of the minister himself. But only children make choices, adults naturally want them all. Lu Zhengzheng's eyes widened. He looked at Sister Zixi and then at Mr. Shen. Finally, his eyes rested on Mr. Shen's ears that had turned red and somewhat transparent. He quickly pursed his lips tightly so as not to show off in front of everyone. The aunt smiled on her face. Mom, she will really feel like she hit her for real now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 709. Have all our gift boxes been sent out? Tong Yu nodded. This time we have sent out almost 50 sets. In addition to the major media that we have cooperated with before, Director Zhao, Director Li and Director Wei, who we have worked with before, also sent them, and the directors we have worked with before are also. I didn't give it to her, and I didn't even think about it after working with Queen Shi, who is currently recuperating abroad, and I think your relationship is quite normal. However, Su Yan did give her a set, and she also sang. Lin Yan Studio, who wrote the theme song for Empress Yuan Zhao. Zhang Lingzi raised an eyebrow when she heard this. Lin Yan. Tong Yu smiled and spread her hands. Actually, I didn't expect him at all. After all, the only intersection between the two of you was at the new drama promotion event a few days ago, and the drama Empress Yuan Zhao was still in the early stages. At a later stage, but the other party sent the gift box first, it would be a bit unreasonable for us not to return the gift. As she spoke, she took out a gift box that looked a bit ordinary from the outside and opened it. In the middle of the dark blue velvet cloth, there was a delicately carved wooden box quietly placed. It had not yet been opened. Already smelling the faint smell of spices inside. Is it incense? Well, I just asked Yao Yao to check this brand. Tisk, I won't be surprised if I don't check it. This is privately customized. It's such a small box and worth tens of thousands. The key is that you don't even have money. You can definitely buy it. In this comparison, our gift box is a bit weak, but among so many gift boxes, he is the only one with such high value. Lu Zhengzheng sighed from the side, it's really rich. There are many more people who have cooperated with Lin Yan Studio than us. It's just a public relations gift box, and it can't cost millions at this time. Fang Yao held the phone, but I just searched and found that the PR gift box released by Lin Yan Studio does not contain incense. Lu Zhengzheng immediately turned around and went to get the mobile phone in her hand. Let me take a look. On the screen was an unboxing video released by a media person. The box had the word flame written with a brush on it. Not to mention that the box was different. After opening it, what was inside was not incense, but several things. A New Year's calendar printed with Lin Yan's famous song, a portable coffee pot and tea leaves endorsed by the brand, a set of collaborative assembly toys suitable for all ages, and exclusive greeting cards. However, although there are various things, together they are far less than the box of incense. Lu Zhengzheng finished watching the video of just a few minutes, and then looked at the incense gift box in front of her. Is this a mistake? Tong Yu really didn't bother to check what the New Year's gift box from Lin Yan's studio looked like. She didn't have the time now. But when she heard Lu Zhengzheng's words, she shook her head with certainty. I remember clearly that I received this gift box personally, and the person who sent it was Lin Yan's studio. Just as the three of them looked at each other, Zhang Lingzi reached out to pick up the box containing the incense, and saw a delicate card placed underneath. She picked it up and opened it. She first glanced at the words Lin Yan signed on it, and then read the words above. I made the incense in my spare time, I hope you like it. Happy New Year, Lin Yan. It's a special little thought from the fans. Then she would accept it? It's indeed a gift from Lin Yan's studio, Zhang Lingzi said with finality. Don't worry about it, just pack it up and get ready for dinner. Tong Yu watched Zhang Lingzi take away the incense alone, and then looked at the empty gift box in front of her. I always feel like something is not quite right. Shen Yunqing held the wooden box in his hand and said, Did Lin Yan give it to you? Well, how do you feel about the craftsmanship? Generally. Oh, but it's my intention anyway, please help me put it away. Your Majesty, don't you use it? I'll just use what you mix. I'm used to it. Shen Yunqing immediately put the wooden box in his hand at the bottom of the cabinet. Confirmed that unless it was cleaned, it would not be visible at all, so I was satisfied and closed the cabinet door. Zhang Lingzi stood there and looked at his little movements. Tisk, it's a bit cute. Asterisk. After lunch, Zhang Lingzi couldn't move to take a lunch break. Tong Yu took Lu Zhengzheng and Fang Yao to continue working outside, striving to wrap up all the work before the year, so that everyone in the team could go home and celebrate the new year without distractions. Just after Zhang Lingzi woke up and washed her face, she noticed that the atmosphere outside had become dull. Tong Yu's face was clouded, and Lu Zhengzheng and Fang Yao were also angry, with smoke coming out of their heads. I just took a nap. What kind of terrible thing happened? Lu Zhengzheng was impatient and spoke quickly. Sister Zixi, a marketing account suddenly posted a photo on the internet of you and Mr. Shen without a mask in an international fashion town, and said that in reality, you are actually like that. It's hard to tell, but I still have the nerve to play famous monarchs and ministers in history. Isn't it awkward when I'm acting? I'm not afraid that the audience will feel awkward watching the drama after knowing the truth. Also, the marketing account might also say Prime Minister Shen. In history, he is really the man of Empress Yuan Zhao. What a man, it's no good, I'm so angry, I'm about to explode. Zhang Lingzi stretched out her hand towards Fang Yao. Give it to me. Fang Yao subconsciously shrank his hand, but he still couldn't resist Zhang Lingzi's eyes and obediently handed over the phone. Zhang Lingzi scanned the small essay on the screen, which was almost a few hundred words long. After reading it, I realized that what Lu Zhengzheng just recited was considered euphemistic. The person who wrote this short essay can be said to be extremely disgusting. He made generalizations out of context, but the language was extremely inflammatory. Looking at the likes and comments below, many people have already agreed. Tong Yu said in a deep voice, "This marketing account has definitely bought the popularity, and there are many black people in the comments who are specifically helping to incite black, and Black Empress Yuan Zhao has the potential to be a hit drama, and you, the leading actor, are the same. Look. There are already people who can't stand it." Zhang Lingzi clicked on the picture attached to the essay. It was taken when she and Shen Yunqing were standing side by side and talking. The angle was a bit tricky, and it seemed that the distance was too close and ambiguous. But at that time, she and Shen Yunqing kept a distance from each other outside. The purpose of the person who secretly took this photo was not pure. Those were the only ones who went to the International Fashion Festival at that time. Yunqing and I stood like this outside only a few times, and they were so close to me in public places. Now they still look at me so unpleasantly. Lu Zhengzheng answered directly, "Zhou Lingyu." Zhang Lingzi glanced at her approvingly, "You're so smart." Hey. But her timing was really good. Tong Yu was still frowning and thinking about the countermeasures. "I have to think about how to counterattack. I must not let such a small composition and a lot of black holes lead the audience astray. In fact, the most direct way is to let the two protagonists mentioned in the essay directly separate their relationship, or find a way to prove that the two parties are just friends and there is absolutely no ambiguity." But she did not dare to mention this method to either of them. Seeing her troubled look, Zhang Lingzi had no choice but to remind her, "Sister Tong, what is the most criticized point in the essay?" Tong Yu frowned and thought for a while before replying, "You mean there is an improper relationship or that kind of transaction between you and Mr. Shen? But our relationship has always been very legitimate. Who stipulates that husband and wife cannot play the role of king and minister? Then why is it that no one says anything about the fact that there are still couples who play the role of father, daughter, and mother?" One word wakes up the dreamer. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 710. There was a pop sound, which was the sound of Tong Yu slapping herself on the forehead. She covered her forehead and said in shame, "The little essay written by this marketing account is so deceptive that even I followed his train of thought without realizing it. I actually forgot that his messy, disgusting speculations are completely untenable. It's okay if the audience doesn't know the truth, even she. However, it is also conceivable that the audience will be more incited by these remarks than she is, leading to dissatisfaction. Xiao 11, thank you for your thorough understanding. However, do you plan to directly disclose your relationship with Mr. Shen? Then the words written in this essay that are not good for you and Mr. Shen will indeed be self-defeating. But in this case, some fans may not be able to accept the fact that their favorite actors are married and have a partner, and they may usher in a wave of fans. I don't care whether it's public or not. My relationship is my private matter. It's enough for each other to know each other's feelings. There's no need to put it in front of the public." After Zhang Lingzi said what she thought, her tone turned cold, "But I will never allow anyone to use this to criticize." After Tong Yu understood what she meant, she took a breath and decisively crossed out the method of breaking off the relationship that flashed in her mind before. "Then how do you plan to make it public? Now the netizens are so incited that they just rely on the platform. I'm afraid words won't help much. It's better to bring evidence that can't be doubted or refuted." Zhang Lingzi thought for a while. "A marriage certificate should be fine, right? Tong Yu?" She nodded seriously. "That's fine." Asterisk. Marriage certificate. Well, someone is smearing my relationship with you on the internet. I have asked Zheng Zheng to pick up my copy. Where is your copy? I will take a photo and put it online later. Shen Yunqing turned around and opened the drawer to look for it. She pursed her lips hard to prevent the corners of her lips from curling up too much. I don't know where the divine assist came from, and he wanted to say thank you to the other party. After all, there was Zhang Kaiwan in front of him, and Lin Yan came behind him. Even though His Majesty treats one of them as his younger brother and the other as his fan, There are some things that only people of the same can know what the other person thinks. Even though these two people politely kept their distance from His Majesty, he still felt that they were particularly annoying. I am too embarrassed to say it directly. Your Majesty may think he is petty. Here. Zhang Lingzi took the red notebook that was handed over and was about to open it when she noticed the breath coming from the person in front of her. She subconsciously looked up at him and happened to see the corner of the man's mouth that he had not had time to suppress. Very happy. Shen Yunqing quickly coughed to cover up. Is it obvious? Well, obviously. It was obvious that she wanted to reflect a little bit, but if she just planned to announce their relationship, could she make her Prime Minister Shen so happy? Shen Yunqing simply stopped trying to hide it. Then I'm indeed very happy. It's just to announce the relationship. Zhang Lingzi thought of a possibility. Don't say that you didn't feel safe before it was announced. I can feel His Majesty's care for me. But Your Majesty is so good, and it has only just a short time ago that he has caused many people to think about you. Shen Yunqing lowered his eyelashes and whispered, I don't like those people looking at you. His Majesty's eyes never calmed down. How can love not give rise to possessiveness? He is not a saint. Zhang Lingzi only felt the gently trembling eyelashes in front of her eyes trembling all the way to her heart. Although she could feel that this person's words were showing signs of weakness, she just took it the same way and said, I didn't think well. She has a domineering and direct temperament. Since she has determined that Shen Yunqing belongs to her, life and death can only belong to her. But she forgot that Shen Yunqing's personality was almost completely opposite to hers. He was too reserved. Just like this time, if he hadn't talked so quickly, he would never have told her directly that I was jealous. In fact, secretly I hope it can be made public. Zhang Lingzi tried her best to look away from Shen Yunqing's face and looked down at the marriage certificate in her hand. The photo above is exactly the same as hers, but because it was only synthesized using computer technology, the two people always feel a bit disharmonious when put together. Moreover, more than half a year has passed, and now when I look at my own face in the photo, I still feel a little strange. Shen Yunqing looked over and frowned when he scanned the photo. The relationship between me and her was just a transaction at the beginning. I didn't want to see her marry someone else one day in front of you, so I got this marriage certificate. But whether it was before or after receiving the certificate, I was not forced. I never interfered with anything she wanted to do. I didn't know about that accident until after she fell off the cliff. No need to explain, I know. Otherwise this person would never have been so indifferent to her at that time. I'll check if the Civil Affairs Bureau is still open today. The topic jumped so quickly that Zhang Lingzi didn't react for a while. Why are you checking this? I want to get divorced first, and then take new wedding photos and get a marriage certificate. Your Majesty will take a new marriage certificate when the time comes. Zhang Lingzi. She stared at Shen Yunqing for several seconds, and finally confirmed that this person was serious, and Shen Yunqing really wanted to do this. Do you think the people from the Civil Affairs Bureau will think that the two of us deliberately caused trouble? Asterisk. Tongyu couldn't help but pick out her ears. She strongly suspected that she had just had an auditory hallucination. What did you just say you and Mr. Shen were going to do now? Zhang Lingzi gave her a simple summary: go to the Civil Affairs Bureau, divorce first, and then get married. This process is correct. It seems that I heard it wrong just now. Tongyu's voice was inexplicably a little more vicissitudes of life. I really want to know, what is the meaning of your operation? Moreover, are you sure you won't be beaten up by the staff of the Civil Affairs Bureau? Zhang Lingzi pointed to the side and decisively said, this is this person's idea. She was just the one who chose to compromise due to a moment of weakness. Tongyu looked at Mr. Shen, who was elegant and calm. Are you sure you have to do this? Okay. Shen Yunqing nodded to her and looked at the watch on his wrist. It's getting late. We have to finish it before the Civil Affairs Bureau staff get off work. With their eyes facing each other, Tong Yu gave up in less than 2 seconds and silently moved out of the way, then watched the two of them walk away side by side with a look of sorrow on their faces. Then he turned around and complained to Lu Zhengzheng and Fang Yao, "Tell me, what are they trying to do?" Lu Zhengzheng and Fang Yao were still a little dazed at the moment, and they both shook their heads after hearing this. They also didn't understand and were shocked. The car navigated to the nearest Civil Affairs Bureau. Zhang Lingzi put down her phone and turned her head to look at Shen Yunqing, who was driving seriously. She just checked online and found out that there is an easier way to change the photos on the marriage certificate. She only needs to apply for a replacement because the marriage certificate is lost or damaged, and the wedding photos can be taken again. But the choice is divorced and ended, and the process is a lot of trouble. Not to mention, maybe, no, it will definitely be incomprehensible or even complained by the staff. She seemed to have guessed someone's secret intentions. However, let's not expose it. After all, it is rare to see the Prime Minister being so willful, regardless of whether others can understand him or not. Why not just go along last time?